Good morning. I'm out at the Herefordshire. Thought I'd pay a visit. Now I'm no longer a member and pay a visitor fee. Now a couple of videos ago I criticised a golf pro telling you to hit your driver everywhere, get as close as the green as you can because strokes gained says so. Well, it's very easy to criticise. So now I better do a video telling you how you really should get your scores and your handicap down. Take me this morning. I've had a lesson with James. We've worked on a few things. We've also worked on how I'm going to get my back better. Exchanged a few phone numbers for treatment. So that's the first thing. Second thing is I'm going to practice that. So tomorrow I'm going to practice what I've just been taught and do it very, very slowly. But forgetting that for a moment, I've warmed up in the net here, got stretched out a little bit, and I've holed 24 footers on the first green. So I'm going to, sorry, the putting green, not the first green. So I'm going to give myself the very best chance of starting my round well, rather than my round starting on the fourth tee after I've warmed up. Now it doesn't guarantee that you're going to hit a long straight drive down the first, and it doesn't guarantee that you'll hold that 4-footer at the end of it. But I've given myself the very best chance. Do you give yourself the very best chance, or do you just climb out the car in the car park, go to the first tee, have a couple of swings and go? With golf at very ordinary golf courses costing as much as £70 these days, I don't understand why you wouldn't give yourself the best chance, whether it's a casual round or a competition round. When you're out of position, as I've just put myself, then you do what you can do. You don't try and do extra. Here I'm just trying to hit a draw with the 8-iron to the front right of the green, and because I was in the rough, I failed a little bit. This is where we can start panicking. It's the first hole. We're going wrong already. Well, there's another 17 holes after this. There's no need to panic. This is just one of the many bogeys that you will make today. You'll find a place to make some pars, I can assure you of that. Right, this second hole, it's a dogleg left as soon as we get over the top of the hill there. But the fairway slopes away to the right. So it's throwing your ball to the right where there isn't a lot of space. I can reduce my average on this hole by playing careful and playing to the corner rather than trying to hit that hook with the driver that goes against what I normally can do. So if a hole doesn't suit you, play it carefully. One of the ways you get better at golf is not attempting things that you can't do. The practice ground is the place to learn how to hit a draw, not the tee box in the middle of a round. And just to prove that 3-wood was the correct choice, if I'd taken driver, my ball would have been into that hedgerow and lost, and I would have been taking the long walk back. Now I do have a fault today. I've been doing the ball forward drill. That's probably what hurt my back. Trouble is I'm doing it on the golf course, so there's a few shots that go left when I wanted them to go right. Up the hill, driver, as we're back into the wind, and a bit of a smelly one, bit of a bottom groove. Well, I've hit worse. When there's a bit of wind about, you are going to make mistakes with your clubbing, as I'm about to here. Exaggerated probably by the firm ground that we've got this spring. What you got to do is keep the toys in the pram and do the best you can. And that certainly wasn't one of my best. We end up with a bogey with 2 over after 3. But I know I can do better, so I'm not going to panic. The fourth hole, and today tee markers are set up at 277 yards. There's a lake down the right, there's a stand of trees down the left. If you're using driver, eventually you're going to slice one in the lake. The next time you come up here, you're going to aim left, you're going to strengthen your grip, you're going to overcorrect, then you're in the trees on the left. You're going to ping pong about with the driver. Alright, some you're going to hit straight, some you might even make a birdie off. But your average for the hole is going to be very, very close to 5. If I hit a 4 hybrid that goes roughly 180 yards, and this is downhill and the ground's firm, so it would probably go a bit further today, my mistake is going to be smaller, which means I'm always going to have some sort of shot at the green. So the worst I can do is probably a 3-putt bogey. And my average is probably going to be very close to 4. So I'm a shot up on you just for using my brain. Now this hole essentially shows you exactly why you should be taking less club off the tee on a short par 4. I've got this little fault, that's in the left rough, but it's done an awful lot less damage than if I'd hit a driver in that direction. Now one of the most important things that you can do is learn some distance control with your putting. You can face many of these. If you can get your lagging right, then you do this. One of the hard things to accept, especially as you start getting older and shorter off the tee, is there's going to be holes that you just cannot make pars on. This is 205 yards, it's uphill, it's going to play probably an easy 3-wood or a hard 5-wood, depends where the wind is, although I don't like hitting a hard 5-wood because it then gets a bit hooky and a bit out of control. So yeah, if this is a hole that you're going to average a 4 on simply because of its length, well, you have to accept it and go and find your par somewhere else. Well, thank goodness I am not playing the competition tee today. So I can go forward, I can hit a 3 hybrid, my percentage chance of success increases, and we can find the green. From that back tee though, I very rarely find this green. Now, number 6 has out of bounds right and the stand of trees left. So I'm going to play my normal fade, but I've hung it out there. Now they do say there's no hero shots, there's only stupid shots, but there are calculated shots. Out of this lie with a 3 hybrid, this ball is not going to get in the air. So it's under the tree and it will run. That is a calculated shot as opposed to a hero shot. And it gets us into a position where we can chip or pitch and putt. But you can only do that if you make the right decision, the right calculation. Now the treble on this par 3 is alright, so my target is the left edge of the green with a little fade. I didn't quite get enough fade on it, and it got a horrific bounce. So sometimes you've just got to suck it up. Chipping onto a downslope from a downslope where you don't have a lot of choice other than to make bogey. Sometimes trying for a par is not possible, so you do the best you can to get the bogey. The long par 4. This is 455 yards today. Now I know off the launch monitor in the studio there that if I swing harder with my driver I can get another 2 or 3 miles an hour, which relates to about 7.5 yards extra length. but I know when I do so I will get out of sync and I'm less likely to use the middle. So either the ball could fly off in some weird direction, or it'll go shorter because I've missed the middle. Now, every golf club has got a group of young men between the age of 25 and say 35 who are capable of hitting the ball in excess of 275 yards. And they do. And they're all off about a 16 or a 17 handicap, or even worse. Yeah, these are the guys who say golf is only fun if you're hitting your driver as hard as you can, and if you lose 3 or 4 balls around, it doesn't matter. Perhaps they've got far too much disposable income. See, a smooth one that uses the middle goes furthest, and this is into the wind anyway, so what's the point of trying to belt it? One of the best things you can learn is to hit a fairway wood off the deck. Strokes Gained says you shouldn't even hit a fairway wood off the tee, never mind off the deck. You shouldn't even have this club in your bag. But if you don't have these clubs in your bag, you're just not going to get yourself the opportunities to make pars on long par 4s and short par 5s. You know, when I started playing this game, the equipment was so rubbish, you had to hit a 3-wood off the deck because you couldn't reach a 400-yard par 4, never mind something of 455. So the advice that you should never hit your 3-wood or your 5-wood off the tee is complete nonsense. I can only imagine these people sell golf balls for a living, wanting you to hit driver everywhere. Now, one of the important things is to enjoy where you are, so you listen to the birds and look at the trees while I tee off. The flag is front right, just over the bunker. It's somewhere where we really don't want to be. I can get an 8-iron here, but I've chosen a smooth 7. Take the bunker out of play, keep it left of the flag, and we got a chance for a bird. You don't always get chances for birds by going for flags. More often than not, you're playing your next shot out of a bunker. Right, we're making a turn, so what does everybody do now? They add up the card. Well, I haven't even filled in a card because this is a social round and the camera will tell me what my score is when I get to editing, but I feel I'm about 3 over perhaps, maybe 2. I just can't remember where I made some bogeys out there. So don't add up the card, just move on. Don't put yourself under undue pressure. Now, just to prove that not every short par 4 is a layup, this number 10th is 258 from the yellows. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's about 5 yards forward, so it's 253 today. It's uphill. Ground's firm. It is possibly reachable, even for an old guy like me. And now I've got to judge the width and the hazards. Can I actually fit the driver up in there? Will my poor driver be okay? Can I make a par off my poor driver? Yes, I can. If I can avoid the trees, then I can even make a birdie off my poor driver. But if I hit a good drive, I should be able to make a birdie. And this is one of those holes where myself as a lower handicapper is looking to have an average that is actually under par. When I was at Gloucester many years ago, and I looked at my stats from the competition tees with a card in my hand, not casual golf playing forwards, there was actually 3 holes that I averaged under par off my 5 handicap. Well, I've determined that this is actually wide enough for my driver, even my poor drive. Now, shot tracer's wrong here. I did hit a much better flight than that, but it was a high fade out towards the right. It looked gorgeous. Just short of the right hand bunker, maybe crept in it. So yeah, you do go for it on short par 4s, but not all of them. You've got to figure out which one is which though. Well, this is awkward, especially with a back right flag. So if things are awkward, then the opportunity for birdie, well, maybe not today, can be lost. As he said, maybe not today. Put the flag somewhere else where I don't have to fiddle with the edge of the bunker, and I'd probably make a bird, but not guaranteed. As I say, my average here would probably be about 3.9. Now, everyone loves a downhill hole except the hang time, especially if there's a strong side wind. This drive goes in excess of 300 yards down here today, but had there been a strong side wind, I'd have been very tempted to take a 3-wood, close the face, tee it down a bit, and hit one of those waist-high jobs which the wind would leave alone. And just to prove that getting as close to the green as possible doesn't always result in a birdie, well, there it is. Now we're going to 12. The further you hit this, the narrower it gets. With the ground being firm, this is just a 4 hybrid. That's all I dare risk. To the pro who said, hit your driver everywhere, hit it as far as you can, hit it as close as you can. Come here, I'll play this hole 10 times with you. My average will be lower than yours, and I got a 4 hybrid. When playing uphill, you obviously need more club. When you're playing uphill off an upslope, then you need more club again. So I've taken a 9-iron from 101, and I thought all I needed to do was hit an easy one. Well, that's a long way short of the flag, so I needed a full one. And that is a difficulty when you are coming uphill on an upslope. And you can only learn it through trial and error, but it is very well worth learning it. Never forget the wind. This tee shot is sheltered. I cannot feel the wind, but it hasn't mysteriously gone away. It's there. And I'm in the front bunker. So always be aware of what the wind is doing, even in places where you can't feel it. In fact, the pros will mark the wind direction on their plan of the course. So if they're ever on a sheltered tee box, they know what it's doing. Go a bit harder, mate. On par 5s, it's well worth knowing when enough is enough for your second shot. It can be helpful if you can hit a 3-wood off the deck, but sometimes that is hitting a 3-wood into trouble. I've got a 4 hybrid because I know a 4 hybrid is enough. I don't need to get any closer than that. And that's another thing where strokes gained is incorrect, in insisting that you must get as close as you can to the green to lower your score. It's incorrect. Quite simply, the less loft you have in your hand, the more risk there is of a cock-up. And cock-ups in golf mean higher scores and higher handicaps. Now I'll give you an example of what going for a tight flag does to you. There's a tennis court to the left of this flag, and I've gone for the flag and I've pushed it and it's just bounced over the edge of the bunker. Now as it happens I get away with this, but it does show you that using the 50 feet left of the flag is a hell of a lot better than going for a tight one. Now we have a very narrow par 5. It's uphill. You can't reach in 2. So why try? I've just got a 3-wood. I know I can hit it straighter with a 3-wood because it's got a shorter shaft and more loft. I can't reach the green, so let's go for a decent position. I've chosen a club that I feel comfortable hitting off the deck, the 3 hybrid. I've only got 69 left to a back flag. Why are you trying to get there in 2 when you can't? I don't understand that. You're putting your game under an enormous amount of pressure, hitting a driver where you don't need to. But just to prove I'm human, I've got the 3-wood here. And I've pushed it to the right. But again, the damage with the 3-wood is considerably less than the damage with a driver. There's the out of bounds fence. Who would want to hit it an extra 30 yards? Now aggressive putting and aggressive chipping leads to 3 putts. Oh. Yeah, it almost went in, but the reality is I'm left with a downhill that I can't hit. Aggressive around the greens equals bogeys. Right, last hole. I'm a bit tired really, the sun has taken the energy out of me. It's 298 yards and it's downhill to the green. So I could take that advice and hit driver, except it's lost ball left, it's out of bounds right, it's quite narrow, and I'm absolutely certain that my average for this hole will be lower hitting a hybrid than hitting driver. And to get your handicap down, to play better golf, you're looking at reducing your average for each and every hole. Now some you might not be able to. You know, a 580 yard par 5, you're probably not going to be able to reduce your average on that. A 240 yard par 3, you know you're going to be well over par on that hole. But everywhere where you've got an opportunity like this, I can assure you putting a lofted club in play and having a full shot into the green with a wedge or a gap wedge, whatever it may be, your average is going to be lower than taking a much bigger club than this. Cheerio. Now I did actually win a competition here a long time ago on a society day. I took driver, I hit the perfect draw, I got it down onto the fringe at the front of the green, I chipped and putt, I made a birdie, and I won by 1 stroke. That birdie won me the competition. But I'm intelligent enough to realise that that driver chip putt birdie was as rare as hen's teeth. My best chance of a birdie is laying back and giving myself a full wedge. And that's a lesson everybody has to learn. Ta-ra.